Welcome back to another episode of A Couple Sips podcast. We just thank you guys for tuning in to another episode. I'm Derry.
I'm Drew.
And we are happy to have you guys back, okay, for this episode that we have coming up. And today, what are we going to talk about, babe?
Well, we've been watching, what is it called again?
Love is Blind.
Love is Blind,
it's
sorry.
Toxic.
Yeah, it's very toxic. But we're not going to be talking about the show this whole entire time, guys, but we're going to be going off of our first impressions of each other when we first met. So essentially, we've been watching Love is Blind, and that gave me the idea because in the show, if you haven't watched it, and don't get me wrong, we're going to do spoiler alerts here, so if you haven't watched it, don't listen to this portion of the podcast. But essentially, they meet people and blindly, and they, have conversations with each other, and they're basically just going off of their first impressions, and they have to decide, do I really want to marry this person or just leave the show?
Yeah, it's kind of like dating, but not being able to see that person. So you're kind of in these rooms, they call it pods, and you basically just date the person that you obviously find attractive the most. And then you date that person and you can't see them though. So you're just going based off of emotions and, conversations and dialogue and communication. And so it's kind of like, okay, well, you don't know what the person looks like. You don't know what weight they are, what height they are. So, I mean, heck, if I go into Love is Blind and I go into the pods, I could be talking to someone who's shorter than me and I'm 5'3". So
yeah, I don't know how you deal with that, babe. If you agree to marry somebody and then they came out and was like, hey,
I mean, if I really, because, these people, quote unquote, fall in love with each other. And I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a show on Netflix, so it's going to be a little cheesy sometimes. But, these people end up really falling for one another.
Yeah,
it's weird.
Yeah, there are some people that do end up getting married, and we're at a part of the show or part of the series where we're starting to see which people actually follow through with their commitments. And but yeah, there's definitely been times where we saw contestants are like, whoa, I didn't expect you to look like that. So,
yeah,
in both in good ways and in bad ways. But it's like they eventually find their own ways to cope with the negatives,
Yeah, don't get me wrong, like some of them, they were just being really over dramatic. Like I think for season 2, when we're going off of season 2, because that's what season that we're on, I think that the guys were just being way too demanding. And, the guys were looking for, I want to say perfection in women. And I feel like, some of the guys were like, I don't want her to be fat. Well, they didn't say fat, but overweight. Yeah. And
like that one dude, Shake, he was like, can you even fit on my shoulders?
Yeah, I was like, wait, whoa, that's, yeah, hey, yo, that's kind of weird. But, so far the show has been interesting, but it's all about, like Andrew said, that first impression and what you like about that person on a more emotional stance.
Yeah. Now, going into our topic here, we didn't blindly date each other or anything like that.
Yeah.
But we definitely kind of went off on the right foot when we met each other. We had a we'll go into it, but our first expectations of each other and just like our initial feelings about each other at the beginning, we're going to go deeper into that. And babe, what would you say was your first impression when you first saw me?
My first impression when I first saw you, it was really long ago, but I'm gonna try to think back. I feel like you were kind of standoffish, like you were just in your own zone, in your own world.
Yeah.
You weren't, I don't know, maybe it's because you were around your friends, but you weren't really talkative to everyone. Really, it was just me. And you're really kind of just quiet, just to yourself, just a chill dude, stuff like that. So
yeah, but that's because I was, initially trying to get at you.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that back then.
Yeah, I didn't know that until we started bonding. We played a game of water pong because we were freshmen that couldn't have access to alcohol, unlike now. But I would say that, yeah, definitely I could attest to what you're saying. I was kind of, a little bit more, I guess I was playing it safe back then. I didn't really want to show off too much of my character, because I'm like, okay, what if she thinks I'm weird? What if she thinks that I'm, someone that she just doesn't want to mess with? So, I mean, I was just trying to play my cards right, essentially, like how all guys really do try to, in the honeymoon phase. Right?
Oh, wow. So you're giving out the advice. You're giving out the secret sauce.
It's not even advice or a secret sauce. It's just, I can only speak for myself, okay? For those that are listening, I can only speak for myself. But, the way I usually have started off my relationships is, I try to get to know the person. I try to get to figure out, okay, what is your interest? Am I compatible with this person in a way to where, like, okay, is it more than just your looks? Like, can I talk to you about certain things, like even simple things like sports or activities that we like to do together? Or, I think what really set us off was, when I saw your sweatshirt. And how I saw that, you went to a high school where I knew a lot of people, and that just kind of really linked a lot of interest within each other.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I feel like also my first impression was you went to Kennedy, and obviously, you said it yourself, that kind of sparked an interest, because I, played basketball, and we used to always play Kennedy. So, your high school, we would beat them, but,
I mean, I only watched the guys' game where we were undefeated for 4 years against Renton. So
yeah, I mean, like I said, so, I mean, that it can spark conversation when you have some type of similarity with someone, even if you do have a difference, which we did. But I just feel like it's all about, being your authentic self. And I feel that that's what's really going to make you stand out. I feel like I get it. There is a honeymoon stage, but you never want to put on like a front, because then that person's going to feel like, whoa, I thought you were a whole different person,
Yeah. And I think, what I meant, like what I was trying to say was, I wasn't trying to, it goes back to what I was saying, how I didn't want to reveal all of my weirdness to you, I guess, it's like,
I get
like
that.
How when people get comfortable and people start to, vibe, but this is our first night ever talking to each other, even seeing each other. So it's like, I'm just like, let me just be chill, try to see what she's about, and just kind of bond with you in a way. And if it works out, cool. If not, then I guess, we're keeping it pushing.
Deuces. It's like, no.